sort of governance, that is a can't-win situation for the Republicans. I mean, this is a lose-lose-lose for Republicans because, A, either you're correct, which seems unlikely.
Come on.
But the Democrat Doug Jones wins, right? That's a lose.
That's who you root for, Doug Jones.
You lose the seat. Or, step number 2, Roy Moore wins the election, which I think is quite likely. And then nothing happens. He's embraced by the Republican Party because he is the embodiment of the Republican Party. That's what I'm rooting for. Or number 3, he gets elected and they do the ethics investigation and presumably something comes from that. Although, who knows? Republicans just might turn around and embrace him anyways.
Well, this is my point exactly.
The voters need to reject the Republican Party.
They need to reject they need to reject Roy Moore right now. They don't need to worry about rejecting Roy Moore later. Roy Moore needs to be rejected right now by Republicans and by Democrats
or
and
what
by
changes?
Independents.
Or what changes?
Well, nothing changes if he gets in. I have no confidence
the
that
man
any sort of ethical investigation in the Senate's going to cause anything to happen. What's going to make Roy Moore leave once he's in?
I don't think they can.
He's come out now, and as his story seemingly, and he's been, hiding for the last week, but his story seemingly has evolved to, well, I never dated young girls unless I asked their mother, and to, I don't know any of these women, but then a subsequent clarification, well, I don't know some of them.
He's guilty, Dom. I have no doubt he's guilty. I'm not defending him in any way, shape, or form. I think it is a disastrous candidate for a disastrous circumstance that can be cast upon the Republicans. And you know what? I don't think it ultimately matters a whole hill of beans. I don't think the math in the Senate really prohibits them from doing anything. You think somehow we can further roadblock the Republicans? They can't pass squat now. And they have the votes. So what, this one vote dynamic? You always got Mike Pence coming out of the bullpen, man. You'll be okay.
You never want a child molester in the Senate.
You mean another one?
Another one?
Mostly
sure.
You reserve that right for Speaker of the House?
Denny Hastert?
I'm just saying.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't root for that. No, you hope. I'm rooting for it. You can root for what you want, man. I know how your math is working on the Packer game, but this isn't sports, man. This is real life. This is representation. This is government. This is a guy who, let alone all of these terrible things that have come forward about his abuse and his pursuit of young women when he was in his 30s and they were in their teens, some as young as 14. Well, he said several years ago, well, let's get rid of all the amendments after the 10th. I mean, this guy there's lots of reasons why this man should not be in the Senate, the least of which are the accusations from the multiple women against him.
Well, I would say perhaps the greatest of which is the accusations by the multiple women, but I don't think Republicans care. I don't think they care, Dom. I think they will embrace this.
Then my point to you, Curdy, is if you're going to root for someone and you just hope this will be a grenade in the captain's tent. If Republicans don't care now, they're not going to care then.
Yeah, but everybody else should care and does care. And I would say people of conscience will rise up at some point against this party. And I'm looking to women. Women will make the difference. I mean, didn't Hillary Clinton lose women?
Yes.
You know what? You mean to tell me if we go through this elective cycle again in next year, or 2 years after that, you think Donald Trump's going to face the very same dynamic? Don't you know that every day that Sarah Huckabee Sanders goes out to the podium and starts calling the women, the accusers of Donald Trump, liars, or saying the president's already said all he's going to say about that, on the very same day when there's a press conference, there's 3 accusers including a former Miss USA contestant, probably pretty enough for people to believe that Donald Trump would try to aggressively pursue her, take her furniture shopping or whatever. So I would say, Dominic, obviously, the prior tape, the Access Hollywood tape, didn't convince Republicans not to vote for Donald Trump. I mean, I sat there in front of Scott Fitzgerald, and I asked him, I hit him between the eyes a couple different times. He was apoplectic because he would not answer my questions. I'm talking about the Senate Majority Leader here in the state of Wisconsin. Caught him after a WisPolitics function.
A Republican.
His face got redder and redder and redder. I was waiting for him to explode like a scanner's head. Because the question I continue to ask the Senate Majority Leader, Trump, Pence. The question I continue to ask is why don't you believe these women? And what if some of these multiple allegations, what if even one is true?
Right.
Then do you walk away? At what point do you walk away from the man? Because he didn't walk away when the Access Hollywood tape dropped. And they voted this man in. And that's Sarah Huckabee Sanders' excuse for everything. Well, the American people decided, and he's the president, so they're okay with that. And I would tell you, I don't think America is okay with a sexual assaulting president. And when that is amplified, and when people don't have to contrast the woman, and I'm going to piss some people off when I say this, but Hillary Clinton was the one that shut the women up that made the accusations against her husband. She was on damage control. She led that charge. And I'm not a woman. I'm not going to put myself in any woman's place, but I have read articles. Some people would say
some people say
that is an indefensible position for Hillary Clinton amongst many women who believe the accusers against Bill Clinton. Well, you know what? Now the contrast is not the woman that covered up for her husband for political reasons. It's the man who did it. And oh yeah, the man who did it to little girls. And they're on the same team. And hell, Donald Trump's doing robocalls. So pardon me if I cheer for a circumstance that I have little or no control over. I don't get a vote, right? Let the voters of Alabama decide.
So I'm not clear what you're cheering for, Curdy.
I'm cheering.
Trump, 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 Trump. Pants, pants.
Well, I'm cheering for Mueller. I'm cheering for the resignation or indictment, impeachment of Donald Trump. And ultimately, I'm cheering for the electoral consequence that invariably must come from the American people if the Republicans continue to hand us this crap. I mean, these are despicable human beings. Donald Trump, Roy Moore, they're despicable. I just have enough optimism in the humanity that at some point America will turn. I'm not saying Alabama will.
That's what I'm saying. So you think the humanity isn't there in enough. It's not there enough in Alabama, but perhaps sometime in the future, if Roy Moore gets elected and some investigations are done, perhaps some more ethics investigations on the Senate, perhaps some investigations on Trump, you think at some point in the future that some of these Republicans will flip?
It's already happening. Let me read on briefly from Jennifer Rubin's piece at the Post. Trump has managed to intensify support within his narrow base, but is alienating more and more voters away from the GOP. That's one reason support for him, whatever the topic, remains so strong among Republicans. He's chasing all but the Trump cultist away. Gallup finds that Democratic affiliation has remained steady at 44% since November, since the election. Under Trump, however, GOP affiliation has dropped from 42% to 37%. This is all the more remarkable given that the GOP controls both houses in the White House. Looking at the numbers, you'd think the party had lost, not won it all in 2016's. In 16, Republicans have had worse showings than their current 37% in Gallup's tracking trend, which began in January of 2008. In December of 2008, shortly after voters elected Barack Obama to replace George W. Bush as president in the midst of the Great Recession, well, then, Dom, only 34% of U.S. adults identified as Republicans or leaned Republican. In that month, 53% of adults were Democratic identifiers or leaners. That's the highest, or tied for the highest in Gallup tracking trend.
Going on here, Jennifer Rubin, Washington Post, it seems winning isn't everything for a statistically significant percent of Republicans. If not yet willing to identify as Democrats,
they'll get there.
The contingent of never Trumpers or giving up Trumpers has the potential to shift the political landscape. The tsunami of sexual assault allegations may further erode support for the GOP, especially among young women. The GOP remains saddled with Trump and, depending on the results in Alabama tomorrow, possibly with Roy Moore as well.
They got him. Two albatrosses for the price of one.
The pattern of denial and smearing of accusers we now hear from Trump and Fox News sycophants is not likely to sit well with Americans. A recent academic study undertaken by Murat Hanner of the University of South Florida, Sarasota Manatee, and Teresa Kulig and Francis Cullen of the University of Cincinnati, conducted by YouGov America from October 7th to the 24th, nearly 3 in 5 Americans, over 58%, believe that the women are telling the truth when they report that Mr. Trump sexually harassed or assaulted them. Nearly 7 in 10 stated that it was unlikely or highly unlikely that all the women were lying, and 2/3 of Americans believe that the women did not report the incidents because they are afraid of powerful men like Mr. Trump and believe that nothing will be done. With regard to the Access Hollywood tape, 62.4% believe Mr. Trump was admitting that he sexually assaulted women. Here's the kicker, Crudy. Nearly 2/3 of Americans, 65.5%, believe that if the accusations can be proven, President Trump should be impeached by the U.S. Congress. In sum, from Jennifer Rubin.
That's Americans. That's not Democrats, right? 65.5% of Americans.
Yes, that includes all political parties. In sum, the GOP's tax bill is a dud. It is shedding support, and it is led by a man who most Americans believe assaulted women, and if the allegations can be proved, should be impeached for it. And all this comes before the possible election of Moore to the Senate.
Probable election of Roy Moore.
Possible, says Jennifer Rubin.
Yeehaw. Folks, we are the devil's advocates. I got to tell you, this Republican Party, you're getting what you deserve. This is what you have eroded into. This is what you have become. And it's time for all voters of conscience anywhere, north, south, east, or west, stand up, reject the Republican Party. Come back with us. We'll talk about the accusers of Donald Trump. They had a little presser, Dom. I think we got some sound. A few of them seem damn convincing. I'd say at least 2 out of 3 dentists would say they're telling the truth. We always tell the truth. 2 out of 3 panelists here at least. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates after this short break. You're listening to WRRD, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio.
Now, who's responsible for this unwarranted attack on my person?
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella. As Chief Technology Officer at Five9s, it's my job to make sure your network is up 99.999% of the time. Technology is constantly evolving, and keeping your business up to date in an ever-changing environment can be a hassle. At Five9s, we're here to help. Five9s is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. Better IT gives your business a competitive advantage. Learn how Five9s can help at five9s.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
We are the People for People, People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit, What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. You know, educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P for ppc.org, P, the number 4, ppc.org.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
The Devil's Advocates, radio for nasty women everywhere.
Before you accuse me, take a look at yourself. Before you accuse me, take a look at yourself.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones, toll free nationwide, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, before we jump into the accusers of Donald Trump, how about a little robocall that Donald Trump's making on behalf of Roy Moore? Again, I see this as a very positive thing.
In what regard? How is this positive, Michael?
Because I want to see Donald Trump and Roy Moore. You know, when you think Donald Trump, you should think Roy Moore. I want their names to be analogous. Moore equals Trump. If you would, and, you know, Donald Trump, I don't think he disagrees with me. You know, let's not forget Pensacola, Florida, that little rally he did. That was right across the Bama border.
It's the same
that was
media
purposeful.
Market. Yeah, it was. But wait, come on, what a joke. Why go through all the rigmarole? Why go down just across the border but not show up and be on the same stage? Why do the robocall but not show up and be on the same stage? What is, from a critic or from a supporter, what is the difference? You know, you're already there. You're already committed, man.
About him. You know what's whisker of plausible deniability?
Oh, come on.
Let's play it for the people. The Donald Trump robocall on behalf of Roy Moore. Yes, he went there. Cut 95.
Hi, this is President Donald Trump, and I need Alabama to go vote for Roy Moore. It is so important. We're already making America great again. I'm going to make America safer and stronger and better than ever before. But we need that seat. We need Roy voting for us. I'm stopping illegal immigration and crime, rebuilding a stronger military, and protecting the Second Amendment and our pro-life values. But if Alabama elects liberal Democrat Doug Jones, all of our progress will be stopped cold. We already know Democrat Doug Jones is a puppet of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and he will vote with the Washington liberals every single time. Democrat Jones is soft on crime, weak on immigration, supports abortion. He's bad for our military and bad for our vets. We don't want him, and he also, by the way, wants higher taxes. Roy Moore is the guy we need to pass our Make America Great Again agenda. Roy is a conservative who helped me steer this country back on track after 8 years of the Obama disaster. Get out and vote for Roy Moore. His vote is our Republican Senate, and it's needed. We need Roy to help us with the Republican Senate. We will win, and we will make America great again.
Paid for by Judge Roy Moore for U.S. Senate.
334-549-9985.
Now, between telling us that Doug Jones probably beats up puppies, he seemed to neglect the accusations against the man he's endorsing, Roy Moore.
Of course, he's not going to bring those accusations up. But, of course, being a law and order, I respect law and order. Unless, of course, you're a 14-year-old accuser of the guy who's running for Senate, then apparently it doesn't matter.
Well, you know who else was a no-show for Roy Moore this weekend?
Who's that?
Roy Moore.
He
wasn't campaigning in Alabama. My understanding, he went to the Army-Navy football game in Philadelphia.
Oh, you know why? It was a little cold up there. I heard it was in his teens.
That would have been funny if you had to miss the punchline.
Oh, damn it. Oh, no. Let's on a very serious note, there are some of these, I got 2 minutes? I got 2? All right, we only got 2 minutes, but let's get a little bit.
Can you be serious for 2 minutes, Mr.
I don't
Salvia?
know if I can. Of course, there was a press conference today. Some of the accusers, the former Miss USA, I think, Crudy, you mentioned Samantha Holvey, Rachel Crooks, and Jessica Leeds.
Contestant. I don't think she won.
Oh, is a contestant?
Still a pretty woman.
Let's start with Samantha Holvey, contestant, cut number 96, talking about Donald Trump.
So many of the women having the same stories, and, him just being so braggadocious about this throughout the years, and for there to be audio and video of him saying these things.
Not shocking that they might actually follow through and do those things. Let's do the last one, if you would, please.
Other folks have resigned. I think he should. I don't think he ever will.
Samantha Holvey, former Miss USA contestant, talking about President Donald Trump. I think this is a good idea that this comes back around. Apparently, though, Sarah Huckabee Sanders was not fond of this, taking only one question per reporter today in the White House
She was
press
getting
briefing.
pummeled.
Yeah.
She was fighting back. She was spinning as hard as she could spin. But no, it was...
After today's performance, I think Sarah Huckabee Sanders should be added on our list of most punchable faces, rhetorically speaking, of 2017.
You realize that distinction was drawn. You couldn't add women's names to the list. But if there was an exception to be made, Sarah Huckabee Sanders certainly should be in consideration for the most punchable of faces. More devil's advocates. Some might say you got a punchable face.
I'm not blaming anybody. I don't like to go back and blame. I like to look to the future. I'm not blaming anybody.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more, it's a no-brainer, I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crute Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
Tune in to The Resistance, Monday through Friday beginning at 7 a.m. on News Talk 1510 a.m. From 7 to 9, it's The Earl Ingram Show. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and Daryl Ingram. The Tom Hartman program is next from 11 to 2. Then from 2 to 5, it's The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join The Resistance, News Talk 1510 a.m. WRRD.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
Fly me to the moon. Trump accusers resurface. I'm Michael Toscano.
That's what our country is doing again. We're dreaming big.
President Trump at the White House signing a space policy directive ordering NASA to begin operations that will eventually put humans back on the moon and then Mars.
We will not only plant our flag and leave our footprint, we will establish a foundation for an eventual mission to Mars and perhaps someday to many worlds beyond.
But back down on Earth, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders was reacting to UN Ambassador Nikki Haley saying yesterday that the more than a dozen women who accused President Trump of sexual harassment and assault deserve to be heard.
The president said himself he thinks it's a good thing that women are coming forward, but he also feels strongly that a mere allegation shouldn't determine the course. And in this case, the president has denied any of these allegations.
Some of the women accusing the president held a news conference today calling for a congressional investigation of Trump. That includes Rachel Cooks.
The only reason I'm here today is because this offender is now the president of our country. I can promise you that I would much rather have gained public interest because of something great that I accomplished rather than something, in this case, quite negative that happened to me.
Mayor Rahm Emanuel says the Chicago Police Department has now equipped all 7,000 patrol officers with body cameras a year ahead of schedule.
It is an essential tool of transparency that builds our community policing.
With 3 weeks left in 2017, there have been at least 636 homicides in Chicago. Southern California's Thomas Fire, already the 5th largest in the state's history, has been fueled by Santa Ana winds spreading to oceanside areas east of Santa Barbara. Some mandatory evacuations were lifted this morning, but thousands remain away from their homes, many schools still closed. Wall Street's just closed their trading for the day, stocks buoyed by energy and tech investment. The S&P and Dow closed at record highs again. I'm Michael Toscano.
1 week left for Chamonix's Christmas and holiday sale, and the countdown continues. Introducing the brand new Genucel treatment for droopy eyelids. Here's Mary from Fort Collins, Colorado. I don't believe everything I hear, so I tried this eye lift on my right eye. The next day at work, everybody said my right eye looked better. I couldn't believe it. Yes, all the saggy lines in your eyelids disappear. Best of all, this breakthrough eyelid treatment is yours free with your order of Genucel for bags and puffiness. Plus, you'll also get Genucel immediate effects for 12-hour results. Go to Genucel.com. That's Genucel.com or call 800-457-8287. But it gets better. Order in the next 20 minutes to get 2 more classics, Esotique RF Collagen Builder and Deep Firming Serum free. Call or click in the next 10 minutes to get the L'Essence Neck Treatment and express shipping free with guaranteed Christmas delivery. Order now to get 6 free gifts. 800-457-8287. Hurry, supplies are limited and going fast. Call 800-457-8287, 800-457-8287 or Genucel.com.
Well, we heard President Trump a few minutes ago talking about sending humans back into space, but before that, NASA will be sending some recycled material back into space, courtesy of private rocket company SpaceX.
NASA will be using one of SpaceX's recycled unmanned Falcon 9 rockets, which was last used back in June, to carry a Dragon capsule that has also flown on previous runs to the International Space Station. The agency said the risk of using a recycled rocket is about the same as using a new one. This will be the first launch in more than a year from Launch Complex 40, the pad that was ruined when a SpaceX rocket exploded during a test in September of last year. As before, the first stage booster will attempt to land back at Cape Canaveral, Florida. I'm John Stolnis.
Golden Globe nominations are in. 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. The Shape of Water and The Post lead for films with 6 each. For TV, Big Little Lies leads with 6 nominations, followed by Feud, Betty and Joan with 4. I'm Michael Toscano.
Hiring is important. People are what make your business work. But how do you find the right talent? ZipRecruiter makes it simple. 1 click sends your job ad to over 100 of the web's leading job boards. But ZipRecruiter doesn't stop there. Their smart matching technology will instantly alert quality candidates about your job. That means you'll start getting great candidates with the right experience almost as soon as your job is posted. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site in just one day. The right candidates are out there. This is how you find them. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
People from businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talk. ZipRecruiter.com/talk.
Good afternoon. It is 3:05 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly, and I have some headlines for you. State Rep Josh Zepnick is getting a primary challenger from Marisabel Cabrera. Milwaukee officials have investigated whether a cool with a KKK Confederate flag sticker belonged to someone working for a city contractor. That city contractor has been fired from his job by his employer. Governor Walker is expected to sign a bill today declaring the way for mining of copper and gold in Wisconsin. The Foxconn company is planning to use driverless vehicles to move thousands of workers every day. WRD's Earl Ingram will be the special guest speaker tonight at the monthly meeting of the Wisconsin chapter of Our Wisconsin Revolution. And Milwaukee's urban farming nonprofit Growing Power has been dissolved and is being taken over by the Green Veterans Group. Currently 33 degrees in Milwaukee, 31 in Waukesha for 1510 AM. My name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back. Hour 2 of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, some prominent firings right here in the great state of Wisconsin, both in this Milwaukee community, not a prominent person, and also a talk radio host can today in the Fox Valley. We'll talk about that momentarily, Dom. But let's get back to the accusations against Donald Trump, the presser from earlier today. First, the women go to Megyn Kelly. That might be the most people that have ever watched Megyn Kelly since she made the move. And then on to a press conference earlier today. Dom, we've got some of the sound. Let's share it for the people.
Once again, I'm using a base here, thehill.com reporting. 3 women accused Trump of sexual harassment, called on Congress to investigate the allegations against him. Let's just get to it. We did Samantha Holvey. She was the former Miss USA contestant. Also speaking, Rachel Crooks. And I believe Rachel Crooks may have been, that was Jessica Leeds was the one on the airplane. I don't recall specifically what Rachel Crooks' issue were. Let's just get to the sound. Cut number 98, Rachel Crooks on Trump and Congress.
I ask that Congress put aside their party affiliations and investigate Mr. Trump's history of sexual misconduct.
Rachel Crooks accused the president of forcibly kissing her 12 years ago at Trump Tower, where she was a young receptionist. Let's continue, Brian.
If they were willing to investigate Senator Franken, I think it's only fair that they do the same for Trump.
Wow, that seems very logical. Cut 100, please, Brian.
In an objective setting, without question, a person with this record would have entered the graveyard of political aspirations, never to return. Yet here we are with that man as president.
Rachel Crooks, again, accusing Donald Trump of forcibly kissing her 12 years ago. Please continue, Brian.
He was able to just deny, what we said, and that got him elected just fine. So, it's like it's passing the torch for Roy to do the same.
What is it about the absolute blanket denial? Wasn't me. I saw you. There's a pic. Nope, wasn't me. Oh, there's all these. Nope, wasn't me.
Why is that more palatable to Republicans? The blanket denial?
Yes. I mean,
Dad said it wasn't him. Shut up, right? Something of that effect. I know that's a bad analogy, but I'm not sure. I don't understand where your inquisitiveness ends with somebody else's denial. Because quite frankly, think about your kids. When you catch them with their hand in the cookie jar. Hey, was that you?
Nope.
Was me.
Nope, wasn't me.
Well, it was them. You've caught them. They've got their hand in the cookie jar. Donald Trump went on a videotape on a live microphone and admitted that he got caught with his hand in the proverbial cookie jar. In fact, he liked doing it. They didn't stop him. He's a celebrity. They just let him do it.
At least 16 women have come forward and
went after a lot of women's cookies.
Rachel Crooks is absolutely right. I mean, what does this say about this country? What does it say about his supporters? Crudy, if you knew anybody in your life from the day you and I met when we were in college at UW La Crosse to this day now that had 16 women come forward and talk about and accuse that person of some sort of sexual misconduct, would you say they're all lying? What would your gut reaction be? What would your instincts tell you, especially if you knew the person?
I will give the accused one benefit of the doubt, and then and only then, if I don't know the full details. The only one I've given any pass to in all of these allegations so far, Garrison Keillor. It's a he said, she said. He stepped aside from a long-term job, left NPR. Above and beyond that, no one else has really denied a single allegation and convinced me that they weren't guilty of something. I mean, because it's so rarely a single accusation. I mean, it's one thing to, I'm not forgiving it, I'm not excusing it, but it's one thing if you got too drunk one time and kissed a girl and you read the signs wrong and evermore you've been so mortified you've changed your life because of it. But that's never the case. These are men. I mean, I haven't heard any accusations against women yet.
Not yet.
But these are men that perpetrate over and over and over again because once they are successful, that's the only good idea they've ever had. Once they've used their power, their influence, their job, their role as a superior, their crafty Alabaman good looks down at the mall with the young girls, I don't know, whatever it is that worked at one time when they tried it, forevermore, they're stunted in this position. They're like adolescents. They're permanent adolescents with no control over their hormones. And, I was an adolescent. I was horny all the time, man. And I never sexually abused, harassed, raped, or any other thing like that because my mama raised me better.
Right, there's consequences to bad behavior generally. We got one more Rachel Crooks here, Brian. Let's do the last. Rachel Crooks, again, this is the young lady who accused the president of forcibly kissing her 12 years ago at Trump Tower.
In terms of resigning, I think it's probably the right thing to do, but I would never imagine he's going to do that. So I think the investigation by Congress is probably the only thing we can ask for.
And let's not forget, if she was a receptionist at Trump Tower, he's got his name on the building. He's the boss. This is sexual harassment.
You think there's more? Do you think there's more women that have
sure.
not yet come out, or that there's tapes or recordings from the president during
his
stint at The Apprentice? I mean, do you think there's more out there?
More evidence?
Yes,
I mean,
yes, more evidence of this behavior, this trend that we see.
Sure, because he's a perpetrator.
Let's keep going. Jessica Leeds. Now, I believe Jessica Leeds was the one who said that Donald Trump was inappropriate on an airplane. Let's start with cut 103, please, Brian.
I'm Jessica Leeds, and I'm the senior member of this group. My story goes way back, and it was an episode on an airplane where I sat next to Trump, and he decided that he was bored and wanted some entertainment.
That's one way to get it. Cut 104, Jessica Leeds.
But then 3 years later, I ran into him again, and he remembered me. So that really stuck in my memory. 30 years had lapsed, at least. But I told everybody. I told my friends. I told my neighbors. I told my book club. I told the ladies at the Y. I told anybody and everybody that I could. That. You want to know what kind of person Trump is? This man who's running for president? Let me tell you what kind of person this is. And it became apparent that in some areas, the accusations of sexual aggression were being taken seriously. And people were being held accountable, except for our president. And he was not being held accountable. In fact, his staff made a big point of calling us all liars.
On nearly a daily basis.
And now
Sarah Huckabee Sanders calls you all liars.
Liars. Yes.
The president knows his own actions.
And he got elected already, so none of this matters anymore.
Now, Bernie Sanders, my guy, Bernie Sanders, feel the burn, feel the burn, feel the burn. Bernie and Cory Booker and Jeff Merkley, and we've interviewed all three of those fine gentlemen once upon a time. Bernie Sanders calling today for the resignation of Donald Trump over sexual harassment allegations. Played for the People, Cut 107, Brian.
Al Franken felt it proper for him to resign. Here you have a president who has been accused by many women of assault, who says on a tape that he assaulted women. He might want to think about doing the same.
He will not resign, not over sexual abuse allegations, not over sexual harassment. These are women. These are his subordinates. I mean, he treats his women like they're chattel at this point. He says in his own book he'd never make the mistake of marrying smart again. Didn't want an equal. Doesn't want a relationship equal.
Well, that mentality, as buffoonish as it is in and of itself is not illegal. Is not necessarily improper to be an ass. But when you start taking your physical self and imposing yourself onto other women that are in your employ, that are your subordinates, that rely on the job that they have, yeah, that's sexual harassment in the workplace at the very least.
What about if it's old accusations? Didn't happen this week. You know, it's old. It's in the rearview mirror. I've heard that defense of Al Franken. I don't buy it. You know, it all happened when he was just one of those scummy comedians, not when he was a U.S. senator. Some of the accusations happened during his senatorial campaign. But is Donald Trump forgiven? You know, no allegations of sexual assault since he's become the president.
Well, you know, ultimately, Nixon resigned because he no longer had the support of his people in his own party. If the Republicans eventually come around, Crudy, maybe they don't do it in Alabama tomorrow. Maybe they don't do it, you know, when Roy gets into the Senate in an ethics investigation. If they never, ever do it, Crudy, do you think they ever have a chance? I mean, how can any Republican ever stand up and say that they are the voice for women, for...
They don't try to. They're the voice of white rich men. The tax cuts are for white rich men.
Then what about people like Wisconsin Senator Leah Vukmir, who's trying to take out Tammy Baldwin? You know, the one that says she's for Trump. Don't women have some issue with this stuff?
Barb Hendricks doesn't. Dick Uihlein and his wife, they don't have any issues financially supporting these accusations. Hell, they're giving money. Uihlein's giving money to Roy Moore, one of the primary funders of Roy Moore's senatorial campaign. Same guy funding Kevin Nichols' campaign here in the state of Wisconsin. Folks, we're the Devil's Advocates. I'll tell you about a radio host who lost his job today. Apparently, it's not a confessional we do here. Come back with us.
But especially the women made me feel good.
I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture shopping.
There is nobody that respects women more than I do.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel,
I don't have a lot of expertise,
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't even know my own website address.
Even some conservatives questioned his ability.
You can always say no to a request for an interview, and I kind of wish Mr. Schimmel had said no. I don't think he was ready for that.
Schimmel claims to be all about law and order.
You start with the default position that yes, you will enforce the laws.
Apparently, even if that means enforcing a 1960s-style ban on interracial marriage.
It might be distasteful to me, but I've got to stay consistent with that as the state's lawyer. It's not my job to pick and choose.
Wisconsin deserves a competent attorney general.
We gotta go.
Yes, Brad Schimmel, you do gotta go. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Grass-fed, locally raised.
Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Hey, great to be with you. And since I spoke last, I went to my first game at Camp Randall. So
all right.
I was very excited.
Well, I feel quite confident that was a victory as my team's undefeated, Tom.
Hey, I agree. Our team, you should say. My daughter's there at Madison.
Oh, that's right.
It was a great day.
Happy
great
Badgers.
Day.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Wisconsin Health Insurance Advocate helps Wisconsin residents with health insurance sign-up. Whether you are currently uninsured or you get your insurance through the marketplace, you still have time to sign up or review your application before December 15th. Best of all, Wisconsin Health Insurance Advocate helps you with your application at no cost to you. We help with every plan in Wisconsin, including several off-exchange options. We still have openings before December 15th's deadline. Call or text 414-797-3408 or visit us online at wihia.com. Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamsters strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. Assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's three easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, the fix for political junkies everywhere.
Back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio 1510 AM WRRD, streaming on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones. Always time for you. 844-967-2789.
Dominic, we're going to have U.S. Congresswoman Gwen Moore live in studio right here on Brady Street a little later in the week. And she is quoted here by the Journal Sentinel, Bill Glauber. I think this is a little bit of a sad commentary on where we are, Dom. U.S. Rep. Gwen Moore, Democrat from Milwaukee, on Monday asked the Senate Sergeant-at-Arms what special measures will be taken to protect U.S. Senate pages in the event Alabama Republican Roy Moore wins a special election.
Oh, no.
Roy Moore has denied allegations that decades ago he sexually abused teenage girls when he was in his 30s. He faces Democrat Doug Jones in a Tuesday election. Senate pages who deliver correspondence and legislative material must be in high school, juniors, and at least 16 years of age. Well, that's a line. I mean, Roy usually goes a little younger than that.
Well, as long as they can respond to any announcement over the PA, those are the ones he likes.
They're drawn from all 50 states and attend classes at the U.S. Senate Page School. In her letter to Frank L. Larkin, the Senate Sergeant at Arms, Gwen Moore wrote, "I believe my fears are well-founded. We have seen members of Congress abuse the Congressional Page Program. You will recall that in 2006, former Republican Representative Mark Foley resigned after sending suggestive emails and text messages to mail pages. Unfortunately, this was a contributing factor in the then elimination of the House Page Program. We need to be vigilant stewards of the children going forward." She urged Larkin to be proactive in protecting Senate pages and asked, "If you're taking steps to prepare the Page Program for the possible election of Roy Moore," one more quote, "I would like to know what preventative steps are being undertaken to safeguard Senate pages from predatory conduct of U.S. senators and Senate staff." She wrote, "The U.S. Congress has an obligation to keep these students safe, especially in light of known potential harm." She's talking about a soon-to-be elected U.S. Senator, Roy Moore.
He's not going to be elected, but
I suspect he will.
Point being, perhaps Google glasses or maybe some body cams might be necessary these days.
I would suggest mace for the young ladies and the young gentlemen.
It is a sad commentary on these days, man. Would you want your kids being a page for Roy Moore? Would you want your kids anywhere
for Roy
around
Moore? No.
Roy Moore, Donald Trump, any of these guys?
No. Certainly not Kelsey.
Hell no.
Or the boys. No, none of my kids. No, thank you, no.
No, thank you. And these are the people that are making essential life and death decisions on health care, on, military finance, on every law that goes through to get signed by a president. These representatives have input on. They can vote for, they can vote against, they can do amendments. These are the people that are dictating the political life for this country, and we wouldn't want our kids alone with them. That's a problem.
No, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Dominic, we now find ourselves speaking about sexual events nearly every single day on the radio.
It's not nearly as much fun as I thought it would be talking about sex on the radio.
Well, it used to be the fun kind of sexy talk, and now it's the creepy kind of sexual
abuse.
Assault talk.
Right.
And every single day, seemingly a new allegation comes out against a new powerful man, almost exclusively men. I have yet to see an accused woman. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Apparently down south in some of the schools, we see like the 24-year-old teacher and the 16-year-old boy. But other than that, Dom, I haven't seen.
It doesn't have to be down south. That happens around here.
Let's leave Joe out of this conversation. I've been trying really hard to leave Joe out of it.
It's not, but it still happens.
I can't think with the sort of frequency that many young adolescent males would like to think. Come back with us. We'll try to have the good kind of sexual conversations, but unfortunately they keep taking us to the bad, less sexy, more creepy kind of sexual conversations. We'll talk about this former talk radio host in the Appleton area. Apparently he's off the air today, Dom. If you're not careful, you could be next. More of us come back, probably me and Dom and Fancy Brian, right here on Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM, Devil's Advocates, the one and only.
I have seen shit that'll turn you white.
Crime, corruption, immorality, abortion, sodomy, sexual perversion sweep our land.
Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Well, I finally did it. I opened a 401k.
What? Why? Just wait for the inheritance. We've definitely got a rich uncle somewhere. We're one call away from the winner's circle at the Derby, dinners with multiple forks, a vacation home in the country, using summer as a verb.
You don't actually think that, do you?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
This is the People's Sheriff. I need you to keep listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee. Can I count on you?
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
We've got Jesse Pica-Holtz in studio with Solidarity Realty. Jesse, why on earth are you advertising in the Milwaukee area when you help buy and sell homes in Dane County?
Simple. Since Walker's policies have taken hold 7 years ago, most new job growth in Wisconsin has happened here in Dane County because of its progressive policies. And plenty of folks who commute to or from Madison already know that many rentals here are more expensive than a fixed mortgage.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Dane County, call Solidarity Realty or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
What do current WRRD sponsors, guys like Lenny Mattioli, Crazy TV Lenny, now Crazy E-Bike Lenny, have to say about advertising with Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio? WRRD 1510 AM, would you call us a great radio advertising source or the greatest radio advertising source ever, sir?
Okay, first of all, my emotional answer is the greatest.
Yes.
Now a realistic businessman answer, okay? I would say equal to or better than any talk show style radio station that I've ever advertised on. The return on invested advertising dollar is as good on your station as I've ever seen. Right now, it's the best.
Be like Lenny. Advertise with News Talk 1510 AM. Call me, 414-635-0872, or email me, crute@newstalk1510am.com.
Good afternoon. It's 3:32 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Governor Walker, about 2 hours ago at 1:30, signed a bill today clearing the way for the mining of copper and gold in Wisconsin. The move is considered a big win for business groups and a big loss for environmental groups. The Republican bill repeals a nearly 2-decade-old state law that has essentially barred companies from extracting minerals other than iron because of pollution concerns. The legislation passed the Senate and Assembly last month without a single vote from a Democrat. WRRD's Earl Ingram will be the special guest speaker tonight at the monthly meeting of the Wisconsin chapter of Our Wisconsin Revolution. The meeting's being held at the African American Women's Center at 3020 West Vliet Street in Milwaukee. Program starts at 6 o'clock. Tonight, partly cloudy and windy, lows in the mid-teens. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and windy, highs only in the upper teens. Currently 32 degrees in Milwaukee and 30 in Waukesha for 1510 AM. My name is Brian Kelly.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Crute on The Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we brought this topic up. We're going to go there now. A radio host in the Fox Valley in Appleton specifically.
My old stomping grounds.
He's off the air, Dom. Apparently, he used his Friday show as something of a confessional. Thought he was, raising the discourse by coming out and admitting some of his own improper conduct What were the admissions that this man made?
This is from the USA Today Network. Madeline Baer, an Appleton radio host, admitted on air Friday to sexual misconduct. On Monday morning, his show was off the air. WHBY AM 1150 host Josh Ducalo of Fresh Take told listeners Friday that he had sexually assaulted and sexually harassed women in the past, that he regretted doing so, but hoped more men would come forward during the nationwide conversation about sexual misconduct by men.
Can I interrupt you right now, Don?
Certainly.
Ducalo. Sort of an unfortunate name. The Dookie, the Duke Meister. I took a Ducalo.
The segment led to a firestorm of social media conversation over the weekend. Most of the comments were largely positive, praising Ducalo for admitting his faults and imploring men to be better. But there was some for calling for his termination at Woodward Communications. As I have said, I didn't speak out for praise, Ducalo wrote in his private Facebook page in response to comments on Saturday. I did it because men need to speak out. I knew this wouldn't be without controversy, so I hope it inspires useful conversations.
Yeah, he inspired. Ducalo was most recently a candidate for Appleton mayor in spring 2016 before launching Fresh Take. Before then, he worked at the Fox Valley Technical College, the Fox City Chamber of Commerce. Sounds like a very Republican resume, Dom. The Fox Cities Regional Partnership, Fox Cities Habitat for Humanity, well, perhaps a Scotia of humanity in him, and Lawrence University. When contacted Monday about the show and his employment status at the station, Ducalo referred a reporter to Woodward Communications, the parent company of WHBY. The originally scheduled segments for Monday's show were about the dark store theory and about the League of Women Voters Making Democracy Work Award, according to WHBY's website. When contacted on Monday, WHBY brand manager, lucky guy that caught that phone call, Justin Hall, said the station would comment on the matter later in the day. Originally, Ducalo did not specify during the segment what he did in regards to sexual assault. In Wisconsin, sexual assault crimes can range from first-degree sexual assault, like forcible sexual intercourse without consent and causing bodily harm, to fourth-degree sexual assault, like unwanted touching and groping. He later clarified that by his actions, this isn't grammatical, my bad. I'm reading someone else's work here. I would never miswrite.
Of course not.
He clarified that he was touching a woman without her consent. He went on to say, I have done that to a woman I know and never apologized. He wrote on Saturday, I have had the conversations I need to have privately to express regret and seek forgiveness. Forgive the sin. No, not a long-term career radio guy like ourselves. Kind of new to the business, a rookie.
Yeah, well, apparently there might be a slot open up in the Appleton market, 8:30 to 11 a.m., Curdy. Too bad, too early for us.
For us? Why would we want to take this fine 41 market show down to a small market?
Oh, come on. I got friends and family up in that neck of the woods, man. They need all the help they can get, too. Otherwise, they're listening to guys like
the Duke.
The Duke
Meister. Dookie.
It's like a poor version of the Juggalo, like Ducalo.
Ducalo.
Yeah. He's like Dookie Howser.
Oh.
A fine host, I'm sure, if he didn't have a propensity to assault women. And then confess about it on the radio.
And sexual harassment, yes.
Dom, any admissions you would like to make on the air?
No, Curdy.
Hoping to take next week off?
Yeah, got a job interview at WHBY up in the Fox Valley. Going home, baby. No, man, no sexual assaults, no sexual harassment to anyone who wasn't my wife, and that's okay.
Everybody harasses your wife.
Stuff will kick my ass. No, I have nothing to admit, Curdy. How about you? You got anything you want to get it all out there right now, man?
I think I've been relatively good.
Relatively?
Well, certainly since my career in radio, because I've been married for that time frame, I feel quite confident.
I'm very fond of consensual sex, so, the other things just don't, it's not my thing.
Yes. Well, Dom, let's talk about a firing for a less sexist and more racist.
Oh, there we go.
Sort of rationale and reason. Mary Spicuzza at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reporting on a local story. A worker who brought a cooler with a Ku Klux Klan and Confederate flag sticker to a City of Milwaukee contract worksite has been fired by his employer, city officials say. Here's a quote. I have spoken to the contractor several times over the weekend. Public Works Commissioner Goshen Corbin wrote in a Monday email to several aldermen. He fired the individual who owns the cooler. Are they going to identify that individual? Corbin added that his goal is to have this contractor develop policies that will prevent this from happening again, and to have these policies become examples to other contractors' policies. News of the workers' firing comes as the community and labor groups are organizing a Monday evening rally at City Hall. That's here in Milwaukee.
Tonight.
A photograph of the cooler surfaced Friday, just days after another picture showing 3 white city-hired subcontractors with guns while at a worksite drew protest and debate at City Hall. Alderman Robert Bauman said the cooler, back to the racist cooler, Dom, which was brought to a worksite at North 25th and West Wells Street, belonged to a worker employed by, here it is again, Dom, American Sewer Services of Hartford, the same company that employed the gun-toting employees.
Oh, nice.
Over the weekend, someone spray-painted "Racist Go Home" on equipment at that site. Well, that's not called for either. The stickers are offensive to the administration and DPW, said Department of Works spokesperson Sandra Rush Walton Friday in an email. If, in fact, the cooler with the stickers belongs to an individual working on a city contract, it would be best if the individual works someplace other than the city of Milwaukee. Bauman on Saturday said the city needs move away from working with contractors. I suppose that's too. These collaborative journalism pieces, Don, they don't read so grammatically. Need to move away from working with contractors altogether. I had to insert a word there. Alder Tony Zielinski on Monday asked Corbin to report to the Common Council within 30 days all DPW tasks previously performed by city workers that have been outsourced to contractors during the past 20 years. Here's a quote from Zielinski. I'm very concerned that the workers working on projects in the city no longer reflect the population of the community they're serving.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. They're not even from the community they're serving. They're a ways away from the community.
Gun-toting white Klansmen coming into the city of Milwaukee. No wonder they're so fearful, these white supremacists, these snowflakes that have to open carry, Dom. And it might be within their legal right, but I know our boy Earl Ingram talked about this quite a bit. There is a city prohibition, and I would say people probably should not be toting guns out at work projects across the street from a school. Just a thought I've had.
Yes, that's a nice thought, Crudy. Yes, there are specific city rules as it pertains to subcontractors and contractors, those doing work for the city, as I understand it from the reporting of Earl. I want to say this, though, when this cooler picture came out a couple of days ago, a lot of Facebook conservatives were questioning the veracity of the photo.
Yeah, they were saying...
seemingly implicating that, well, how do you know this wasn't, some left-wing setup?
Because it was Sam Singleton Freeman from Voces de la Frontera that actually took the photograph, and he used that photograph not as a singular photo, but as a series of photos.
Collage.
From a work site that he visited that was near his neighborhood. But yeah, those damn lefty community activists, Don, they're always making up something, keeping a extra Nazi or a Klan sticker in their back pocket.
Just in case, just to go mix it up a little bit.
But what about the Confederate flag sticker? Did he also have that?
Apparently. I'm not. So I guess, and here's the thing, and I think this is
where does one seek and get those things?
Online, man. You get them. Everything's online these days.
Activist SaulLewinsky.com.
There's an app for that. The the reaction by the conservatives that I saw on social media with regards to that picture with the Klan sticker, the stars and bars sticker, was, I can't imagine someone would actually do that. Who in their right mind as a construction worker would use Scotch tape to attach those stickers to that cooler? Who would possibly, I mean...
Oh, you've discovered the conspiracy now, Sherlock.
You know what I'm saying? So this is concerning to me. Now, seemingly some of these folks...
Fake news.
Were saying that, hey, if you know, as many Republicans, if this turns out to be true, of course, this is terrible, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm wondering, why is it the first reaction to some of these conservatives is to say that some lefty set them up, whereas the logical explanation is usually the right one, and that is there's some redneck racist up north there, hey, contractors doing work for the city of Milwaukee.
Up north there, hey, from Hartford? That's like the suburbs, Tom. That's hardly north of Wausau when you talk about where this company is actually based, American Sewer Works or whatever the case may be. It doesn't seem at all surprising. The same sort of employer that A, would allow their employees to brandish weapons, B, allow their employee to wear a stolen work vest from a different contractor, because let's not forget, this story was misreported by our own Earl Ingram initially, because the guy was wearing a blocky paving vest that he had either stolen or walked off with from a different job site, leading some to imply or express that, hey, Poblocki Paving. Well, it wasn't Poblocki Paving. I've spoken with John Poblocki twice. But it so clearly was this other company, because they've now fired the guy who's brandished a gun, took it out of its holster on a job site across from a school or a former school. That's the other denial. Well, you know, the school's not open anymore, so, you know, you can brandish your gun around closed schools. That's permissible, right? That's all okay. Just pull it out of your holster. So that's the first offense. And of course, it's Earl's fault because he got the initial reporting wrong. Correction's not permissible. You know, only the president can lie, deny, and never hold any responsibility. We made a correction immediately as soon as we knew the error. We had John Poblocki, specifically Earl did, on the air. Earl clarified that story as quickly as he knew he was at fault. Now, could he have been more prudent? Yes, I'd readily admit that. Will he do it again? He better not.
But that doesn't take away from what the story is, and that there's contractors sitting on the streets of Milwaukee doing city work with city tax dollars, strapping guns, and apparently walking around with coolers with stars and bars and the KKK stickers.
How do I know you didn't tape that sticker on there, Dom?
That seemed like a lot of work. No, man, I'm about the love. I'm not about the hate. KKK? I thought we were post-racial, man. I thought this was all over. We're literally with our tax dollars paid. Well, because we had a black president. Don't you remember?
The black president's the reason we have Donald Trump right now. Obama's election, this was the unintended consequence. The blowback by racist America, the whites that felt like something had been taken from them, the browns are taking their jobs. That all started, and I would say it started with the emancipation of the slaves. But really, that started most forthrightly, most urgently, this hatred started with the election of Barack Obama. And I would point out the current president, he was in there denying the legitimacy of the last president, right? The birth certificate, the long form, he still got investigators. What did Donald Trump's investigators ever find over there in Hawaii anyways, Dom?
Well, OJ's still looking for the killer.
Yeah, and Trump's still denying the accusations. Come back with us. Devil's Advocates Radio right here on WRRD 1510 AM. Keep your nose clean. You still got a job after the break, Dom.
KKK? That's not good.
Please forgive me. I know not what I do.
I gotta steal that bit.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
You know, they can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 59s.com. That's the number 5NINES.com.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth.
Step out of the car, please.
I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
I'm more resourceful than I thought.
My suit can still make an impression.
My video games are still game changers.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill,
it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Now my stuff gets a second chance.
And will give someone in my community
a second chance too.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. That's goodwill.org. This message brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Well, I was born an original sinner. I was born from original.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 a.m. WRRD, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones 844-967-2789.
Dom, let's go back to the phones. Let's start with Pete from Tosa. Pete, welcome to the show. What do you got for us?
Well, basically, I was kind of amazed at this Trey Franks. $5 million, considering his salary, that's quite a bit of money. I don't know where he gets all that money.
Okay, you're talking about the congressman who wanted to have his
Franks,
his surrogates in his office. Is that what we're calling it now?
Right.
You want to be my surrogate? I got a check right here.
Yep, $5 million. And here's the other thing. This is the same thing. The Nazis did this in World War II to try and get blue-eyed, blonde-haired people into their race. And it's unbelievable. I mean, this guy.
You think this is some sort of Republican eugenics, Pete?
Come on. No.
Aryan or bust?
How about this? A personal thing with this guy, you know? I mean, maybe he wanted to have little Ted Franks, forever and ever. I don't know, but, you know.
I don't know about trying to create little Aryans, Pete, but I certainly think Mr. Franks, I can't even go there, man. I'm worried now. I can't say stuff on the radio that comes to my mind. I'm so worried about offending the weak of ear.
Well, you know, this guy is he's something else. He was also caught trying to solicit money to take down the filibuster rule. That was on my phone also. The reporters overheard him talking about it, which is illegal to solicit money, and he was still in Congress at the time.
Pete, let me ask you, given the circumstances about the sexual conversations that we're having, men of power, assaulting, harassment, etc., what do you think the consequence will be with if Roy Moore gets elected in Alabama tomorrow?
Well, I think it's going to be bad news for the Republican Party, because what's going to happen, I believe, is that they're probably going to have hearings, and these people are going to testify. And when you have people testifying against you in person and you try to deny things, you can really look bad. And there's no doubt in my mind that this guy did what these people are accusing him of.
Well, Pete, as encouraged as I'd like to be from your words, I point you towards Anita Hill and the example that does not make your case, sir. Now, granted, that was some years ago when she accused Clarence Thomas, but didn't stop him from making it to the U.S. Supreme Court. Should he also resign?
Correct. But that was a different time, and that was a situation where they really took the woman down. You know, they really went against her. In fact, the guy who was the prosecutor against her, I forget his name.
It was Joe Biden. Joe Biden did some dastardly things against shutting down Anita Hill in the Judiciary Committee. And Joe Biden was in my hometown yesterday, except I didn't go see Joe. I was watching the Packer game.
Let's get one more caller in. Paul from Wisconsin. You'll have 1 minute. What do you got for us, Paul?
Hey, Paul.
Good afternoon, Devils. I would have to say if Roy Moore gets elected in Alabama, I will about lost all hope in ever winning the majority in the Senate in 2018. I mean, I really don't even have the words for this. I mean, I can't imagine a pedophile being elected to anything. So that's all I got to say today, and you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Paul. You have a great day as well.
Paul, there are allegations against Donald Trump of getting on Epstein's Lolita flight down to his private island. Accusations that have not been flushed out fully, but I'm not sure that Donald Trump wasn't thinking, I'll be dating her in 10 years.
Hell, 10 years.
Or hopping a flight to international waters.
Date her tomorrow in international waters.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. The happy hour starts right now. Doing some wanker bashing when we come back.
My party is going bat crazy.
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists. And some, I assume, are good people.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
Tune in to The Resistance, Monday through Friday beginning at 7 a.m. on News Talk 1510 a.m. From 7 to 9, it's The Earl Ingram Show. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and Daryl Ingram. The Tom Hartman program is next from 11 to 2. Then from 2 to 5, it's The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join The Resistance, News Talk 1510 a.m. WRRD.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha.
Big, beautiful stars hold him accountable. I'm Michael Toscano. On the 45th anniversary of Apollo 17 making the last human landing on the moon, President Trump this afternoon ordering NASA to start work on sending Americans back there and beyond to Mars.
Today, the same spirit beckons us to begin new journeys of exploration and discovery, to lift our eyes all the way up to the heavens and once again imagine the possibilities waiting in those big, beautiful stars.
No details announced, just the goal. The Pentagon will begin accepting applications from transgender people who would like to serve in the armed forces beginning January 1st, despite President Trump trying to put a stop to it. White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders says they're still in the fight.
The Department of Justice is currently reviewing the legal options to ensure that the president's directive can be implemented.
It's a policy that was set in motion by the Obama administration, only to be undone by a presidential tweet. However, a federal judge here in Washington has declared she would not overturn her own order halting Mr. Trump's action. Bob Costantini, the White House.
Some of the more than a dozen women accusing President Trump of sexually harassing or assaulting them in years past are calling for an official congressional investigation to hold him accountable. Democratic Senator Kirsten Gillibrand is calling on him to resign, but doesn't really expect him to.
Congress should have hearings. They should do their investigation. They should have appropriate investigations of his behavior and hold him accountable.
Firefighters getting a bit of a break from the high winds that spread the massive Thomas Fire north of Los Angeles into Santa Barbara County coastal communities. They had lost ground, but hope to regain some control before winds pick up again tonight. The Lilac Fire in San Diego County is largely under control now, but that doesn't make evacuee Dana Andrews feel any better.
A lot of sadness for my neighbors, really. The people, their home is there one day and gone the next. It's really, really sad.
I'm Michael Toscano.
Not available in all states.
Thank you for calling Reese and Irvy's, the future of frozen yogurt.
Are you the robot people?
Reese and Irvy's Froyo robots? Yes, ma'am. Our Froyo robot serves 7 different flavors of delicious frozen yogurt with up to 6 delicious toppings, all within 60 seconds. We place our robots all over the country. Malls, theaters, theme parks, almost anywhere people want an amazing treat. It's the future of frozen yogurt.
And you sell these robots?
That's right. Whether you're looking for a full or part-time turnkey business, Reese and Irvy's Froyo robots are available as a unique franchise opportunity across the United States.
And how do I find great locations for my robots?
Well, actually, we do that for you. Your robots go into high-traffic, secured locations, engage with customers daily, deliver amazing Froyo experiences to customers, and you collect the profits. They work so you don't have to.
Well, I definitely want my own Froyo robots. How do I get them?
It's easy. Just go to FroyoFranchising.com and enter promo code 1313. That's FroyoFranchising.com, promo code 1313. Locations are going fast, so don't wait. Again, that's FroyoFranchising.com, promo code 1313.
Director Guillermo del Toro's The Shape of Water leads today's Golden Globes nomination with 7 nods.
Sharon Stone announced the nominees for Best Motion Picture Drama.
Call Me by Your Name, Dunkirk, The Post, The Shape of Water,
3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
The nominees for Best Musical or Comedy are The Disaster Artist, Get Out, The Greatest Showman, I, Tonya, and Lady Bird. We'll find out who the winners are when the Golden Globes are presented January 7th. Dave Alpert, Los Angeles.
The Patriots can secure a division title with a win over the Dolphins tonight on Monday Night Football. A win would give New England its 9th consecutive AFC East crown. The Patriots lead the division at 10-2, with the Bills second at 7-6. Miami snapped a 5-game losing streak with a Week 13 win over the Broncos in Denver. The Dolphins 5-7 on the season, 1.5 games out of an AFC wild card spot. I'm Michael Toscano.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Good afternoon. It's 4:05 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Here's some headlines for you. Milwaukee officials have investigated whether a cooler with KKK and Confederate flag stickers belongs to someone working for a city contractor. It was true, and that contractor has been fired. Well, Governor Walker is expected to sign a bill today clearing the way for mining of copper and gold in Wisconsin. He has signed that bill at 1:30 today. The Foxconn company is planning to use driverless vehicles to move thousands of workers every day. And WRRD's Earl Ingram will be the special guest speaker in about an hour at the monthly meeting of the Wisconsin chapter of our Wisconsin Revolution that's being held at 3020 West Vliet Street at the African American Women's Center. Tonight, partly cloudy and windy, lows in the mid-teens. Tomorrow, mostly sunny and windy, highs only in the upper teens. And currently, it is 32 degrees in Milwaukee and 31 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, we're sliding into the 4 o'clock happy hour. And I'm happy today we have taken a small procedural step towards having our FM granted at 101.7 right here in Milwaukee.
Nice. What's the deal?
The FCC Form 349 application has been accepted for filing.
So they got the mail.
Beyond that, they could have rejected the application. They have accepted the application for filing. That's a good thing, Don.
That's excellent.
It might sound very archaic. It is. It might sound FCC procedural. It is. But just trust me, that's a good thing. I was reading in the industry trades, everybody in my circumstance, meaning every little radio station, a Class C or a Class D, that made their application for an FM translator, which for guys like us, gives us the right to a 24-hour transmission day. I don't have to warn people anymore when it happens.
Like today.
That we got to turn this damn thing off because the FCC makes us.
I can't wait.
Due to the limitation, our Class D licensing, we are a daytimer. That will only be the case for a short while longer before the end of the year. Hopefully more good news to announce, Dom.
All right, keep it going, Michael.
So far so good. Knock on wood. Dom, still time here today, though, while the AM signal's up, to do a little wanker bashing. Our friend Jesse Poyen over at the Cap Times. Mining companies will now have the opportunity to use sulfide. That's like sulfuric acid, right, Tom?
That's a bad thing, right?
To extract minerals like copper and gold from the ground in Wisconsin. Governor Scotty Wanker signed into law Monday, that's today, a bill lifting the state's effective moratorium on sulfide mining. A move supporters say will clear the way for an economic boost to a depressed area of the state, but opponents say the environmental risks are too great to allow such activity. Dom, the bill's authors, Senator Tom Tiffany, Republican Hazelhurst, and Rep. Rob Hutton, Republican from right here in Brookfield, says it allows conversations about mining to occur that cannot happen under current law.
You cannot talk about mining?
Not the way they want to.
They want to do it, it's not talking about it.
Both have emphasized that companies that want to mine in Wisconsin will have to work with local communities in order to do so. The legislation was passed without a single Democratic vote.
Of course it was. Under current law, a mining company must prove a sulfide mine can operate for 10 years and be closed for another 10 without polluting groundwater or surface waters with acid rock drainage. That legislation was passed with near unanimous bipartisan support in 1998 and signed into law by Republican Governor Tommy Thompson.
Not to be redundant, Don, but could you repeat that sentence? I want to make sure it sinks in.
Yes, I'd be happy to, Michael. Under current law,
the mining moratorium you referenced.
Yes.
I'm done interrupting.
Okay. The mining company must, under current law, prove that a sulfide mine can operate for 10 years and be closed for another 10 without polluting groundwater or surface waters with acid rock drainage. That legislation was passed with near unanimous bipartisan support in 1998 and signed into law by Republican Governor Tommy Thompson.
That's when we didn't have to fear Republicans, Don. At least not in the same degree we do now.
Walker signed the bill in Rhinelander with the support of several Wisconsin natives and residents who say they hope to work in the mining industry in their home state thanks to the bill's passage. Taylor Pitlick, 22, of Sugar Camp, is a senior in Michigan's Technological University's mining engineering program, a fourth-generation aggregate miner. She said she looks forward to working in her home state. Several other students in mining and geological engineering programs have similar goals, according to the Natural Resources Department Association. In a statement, Americans for Prosperity Wisconsin Director Eric Bott said the law will bring back, quote, good-paying, family-sustaining, blue-collar jobs to northern Wisconsin.
But the question, of course, Tom, what was wrong with the old law?
Well, you had to run it for 10 years and shut it down for 10 years and prove that it
couldn't pollute?
Couldn't pollute.
So the problem with the old law is that you could not pollute. Well, the Republicans have solved that problem, Dom. Opponents of the legislation, like Senator John Erpenbach, Dem from Middleton, technically where I live, have argued that if a sulfide mine could operate safely, the existing law wouldn't have prevented it from doing so in Wisconsin.
Right.
Dom, in sulfide mining, once rock is extracted from the pit, a chemical process separates the unwanted tailings, about 90% of the material, from the desired materials. For instance, gold, zinc, copper, and silver. One of the chemicals used in the separation process is cyanide.
That's not vitamin C, right?
No. You playing some acid rock for us? The tailings are mostly sulfide, which when mixed with air and water, form a toxic acid that acts as a long-term pollutant, turning rivers bright orange. Tailings can be neutralized with alkaline materials like limestone. Conservation groups and tribal leaders say the new legislation would put the state's long-term environmental integrity at risk in exchange for short-term profits. Open for business. The Wankinator. Who gave him the money? Well, didn't give it to him, but I'm sure there are more mining interests giving money to third-party groups
for
the coordination with Scott Walker's campaign.
One time does not a
It wasn't
trend
one time.
Set. Oh.
Lead-based paint manufacturers, Gogebic Taconite, you know, the ones that wanted to do the iron pit mine in the Pinocchis. Well, I guarantee eventually, someday, leakers and all that kind of stuff, I think we'll find out how many millions Scott Walker has benefited for signing away our environmental health and safety, not for the first time. Come back with us. Got a little op-ed from the New York Times. They noticed this governor. They don't like him either. More devil's advocates, more wanker bashing. Straight to stream, newstalk1510am.com.
The biggest fear that I, and I think a lot of our supporters have, is the outside money.
And they call it a mine.
Good evening, everyone. Due to FCC regulations and that we are a daytime AM radio station, this now concludes our broadcast day. But you don't have to leave us. We do stream online 24/7 at newstalk1510am.com. That's newstalk1510am.com. Or check us out on the TuneIn app at WRRD 1510am. For those of you already streaming, we now continue regular programming, and please welcome your friends from the radio station. Say hi, everyone. News Talk 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Tune in to The Resistance, Monday through Friday beginning at 7 a.m. on News Talk 1510 a.m. From 7 to 9, it's The Earl Ingram Show. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and Daryl Ingram. The Tom Hartman program is next from 11 to 2. Then from 2 to 5, it's The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join The Resistance, News Talk 1510 a.m. WRRD.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Me, a cat moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
When they go low, we get high. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. You can always join us if you choose toll-free, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, I know we got friends listening in Charlottesville. We got friends listening in Eureka, California. We got friends up in Minneapolis. Hopefully they're listening overnight and all around the world on the Devil's Advocates live stream, DomAndCroot.com, and of course right here at the local AM News Talk 1510am.com live streaming. But Dom, our own Wankinator has become a national editorial comment for the New York Times. You know, local, national, see how I tie it all together. I'm going to read from the editorial board at the New York Times, this one published yesterday. Governor Scott Walker has already reached desperate levels of generosity to entice a big electronics company to locate in Wisconsin. Last summer, the governor agreed to an eye-popping $3 billion in state subsidies to secure the arrival of Foxconn, a global manufacturer of flat panel display screens that amounts to an annual state subsidy, that is taxpayer money, of $15,000 to $19,000 per promised job. That's per year, per job. More than 5 times the typical subsidy, according to job development specialists. But wait, there's more, as TV hucksters say. To make it easier for this Taiwanese company to build what is promised is one of the largest economic development projects in U.S. history, a $10 billion operation, supposedly 3 times as large as the Pentagon. The company will be exempt from state environmental requirements that other companies have to follow. This means Foxconn can fill in wetlands as it pleases, reroute streams, or even create new ones with impunity.
Woohoo!
The business, which uses potentially polluting chemicals in its manufacturing, will not be required to submit an environmental impact statement to the state, according to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Mr. Wanker, normally a fiscal hawk, who hasn't hesitated to take on public employee contracts and state university budgets, is claiming a transformational victory for a state in order to play in the big leagues. He'll never play in the big leagues.
He tried
Walker.
to play in the big leagues. He got smoked.
Never got a vote. The contract grew out of a high bidding competition with other states, encouraged by the Trump White House with the blessing of House Speaker Paul Ryan, whose district includes Foxconn's planned site. How convenient.
Very convenient. From the New York Times, I continue. For all the thousands of promised jobs and the optimism sounding from the Walker Statehouse, critics are noting that Foxconn has come up short in the past with similarly grandiose plans, including a $12 billion investment in Brazil, a $5 billion operation in India, and a $30 million plant in Pennsylvania. Experts on both the political left and right say experience shows that the promised rewards are not justified by the cost of extraordinary tax breaks that, if extended to other employers, could bankrupt the state. Oh yeah, remember other employers, Miller, Harley Davidson,
WRRD 1510 AM. A small employer.
You don't get any of that.
Nothing. Nada.
Since being elected in 2010, Governor Walker, along with fellow Republicans, has demonized environmental regulations as anti-business job killers, even though evidence shows that modern corporations profit from environmental advances. State enforcement of regulations has been reined in, and budgets have been cut. Federal environmental laws still have a role to play, but unfortunately enforcement is in the obstructionist hands of the Trump administration. The Foxconn project amounts to a low-road scheme to advance big business by scapegoating environmental laws. Jay Gold of the Robber Barons would have envied the way Foxconn could benefit from Governor Walker's reckless giveaway of tax subsidies and hard-won protections of the environment.
So I wouldn't call this a positive endorsement of the governor, Dom. National news doesn't much care for this Foxconn deal.
Nor do national business magazines. Most people look at numbers, and these things are not fond of this deal. But Governor Walker, he is all about it because, again, we know from Governor Walker's past that he has had industry steer money to third-party, dark third money groups, and he would coordinate with those groups on the spending so he can get advantage of giving a deal like this away, and the way they do it, we as citizens, we will never, ever know.
Well, it's a win-win, Dom, because the givers, the donors, they get to do so in a tax-deductible fashion. You know, everyone's looking for a little hedge for taxation this time of year.
Write it off.
It's a write-off. So you can give money to Walker from your corporation. Of course, they'll never tell. And this sort of coordination, although it's illegal in 49 other states,
well,
it's
not
been
to
codified.
Walker. You're not giving money to Walker, not to him personally, not to
just
his
because
campaign.
Scott Walker asked.
You give it to whatever group he tells you to. Yes.
Like Wisconsin Club for Growth
Yeah.
or Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce,
Sure.
or one of the multitude of third-party 501c3, 4, et cetera, et cetera. And, of course, they never tell, and Walker never tells if some corporation like lead-based paint manufacturers have given $750,000 and he turns around in the Wisconsin state budget and rolls back protections from lead-based paint. That's just quid pro quo corruption, you know, swept under the rug. Thank God we got Schimmel out there looking for the Guardian leaker.
Yeah, and the OJ killer. But here ultimately is the fundamental question that I think everyone needs to ask themselves and answer. Do you, as a citizen of this great state and this great country, do you have a right to know who is handing out money to the politicians? Regardless if it goes through a third party and then coordinated with Governor Walker and his cohorts, well, he effectively has the money. Now,
well, not
you
under
can claim I never took possession of the money, but you don't need to take possession of the money in order to benefit from the money.
Well, under Citizens United, of course, there cannot be coordination with independent groups and campaign committees, Dom. That's the only reason even the conservative justices of the U.S. Supreme Court saw I think it's folly, but, you know, the wisdom of passing Citizens United through the court, upholding uncapped third-party contributions. The only reason that was permissible, Dom, is because coordination with campaign committees was forbidden, except here in Wisconsin, where Scott Walker did it, even though he knew it was illegal, even though we can point towards the Wilcox case and the massive fines paid by a former Wisconsin Supreme Court justice for coordinating with outside groups before his election. And that was the standard. That was the precedent-setting case here in the state of Wisconsin, Wilcox. That's what the GAB pointed these candidates like Scott Walker towards when they gave them advice. You cannot coordinate with outside groups. That would be illegal. But Scott Walker did it anyways. And now, Dom, when we see the Mueller investigations really come to fruition, now they seemingly are investigating the obstruction of justice charges, wondering, when Michael Flynn lied to the FBI, why didn't he get fired for 3 weeks if Trump knew, as he tweeted out that he did? And what if Trump and the Republicans, and especially the sycophants over at Fox News, started doing? Suddenly, these lifelong Republicans like Mueller and Comey are some sort of liberal activist, right?
Right.
They're undermining the Justice Department, the investigators, the prosecutors, and I would say there was a prime example of just how well that can be done right here in the state of Wisconsin, because it was masterful in the John Doe 2. Scott Walker, guilty as sin. I don't have to throw allegedly. He was breaking the law as it was written and decided under Wisconsin case law when he was doing it. See all sorts of evidence. And the fact that the Wisconsin Supreme Court, at least certain justices, guys like Prosser and Gableman, got to serve as judge and jury on their own campaign coordination, Dom, because they were guilty of the very same sins, allegedly.
And this is the conspiracy. This is what really gets me. This is the Wisconsin Supreme Court, man. This isn't just some dirty politics. Well, of course, ends up being that way. But when you have a Wisconsin sitting Supreme Court justice like Prosser, who admits that he was discussing issues with R.J. Johnson, who was also, Walker's coordinator, well, how is that possible for him to rule on this very case that he benefited from? That should be a problem. And ultimately,
he decided he was not guilty of the crime, and he did not think he should serve the time.
Do you think you have a right to know who's paying your politicians, whether it's to them directly or to somebody else? I think we do.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Our opinions don't matter for much, but they're all you got. Come back with us. More of us, more of you, perhaps. 844-967-2789.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon. You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP. You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
What would you say you do here?
You know, I'm an Eagle Scout.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates. 282-6200. 282-6200.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Hey, Ike, welcome to the Devil's Advocates. What do you got for us today?
Fantastic. Thanks for taking a call. And I got to start off with my favorite wrestler, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
If the Wankinator was a wrestler, who do you think would most personify the current governor?
I got a great name for him, Scott the Shyster Walker. I think that should be his wrestling name.
I think it's already been used. I think it's his skateboard name, sir. Allegedly.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crute Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, keeping it local, but we're taking calls from all over. 844-967-2789. Doesn't cost you nothing. We're going to jump into a story, but first, let's get back to the callers, including a friend of ours. It's Betsy. How you been, Betsy? Happy holidays.
Oh, hi, you guys.
Hey,
Happy
Betsy.
Holidays.
How you doing?
Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy Kwanzaa. Hey, love you guys. I listen all the time. It's been really depressing time for me. But you guys you give me hope, and that's the main thing. But, about this Justice Process thing, I remember that. And I remember... you just sparked up all the anger that I felt. Alan Combs, I was talking to him about him and how these justices should have been recused and how Prosser shouldn't have been elected as justice anyway. Klausenberg should have won that with all that. I mean, look what's happened since Scott Walker's come and wrecked our state. Just look what he's doing. I'm not going to swear, don't worry.
All right.
But, I mean, everything that he's done, from collective bargaining to attacking the teachers, to attacking our university, to attacking our environment, to attacking his enemies with viciousness and malice and
well, don't forget, Betsy.
On that man.
Don't forget, Scott Walker had the protesters arrested by the 100, Mr. First Amendment. The snowflake governor of the state of Wisconsin had hundreds arrested, including yours truly, including Dominic.
Yeah.
And we're 3-0 in the courts against this man. Anytime I hear righties talking about stifling of free speech through this John Doe action, I would remind them Scott Walker literally had people arrested for peaceably assembling in the People's House, the Wisconsin State Capitol. I know. I was there in the handcuffs.
That's right, and that's why I'm afraid to protest, because I can't afford to get arrested, thank you, Mr. Walker. So all I can do is pretty much call people, vote. I mean, my kids think I'm crazy since Scott Walker coming to, being, the whole recall election, everything, voting machines, the voter suppression. Oh, God bless you guys. Just thanks for letting me vent this, and I know you got other callers, but you're doing a great job, and you're just our hope. You're our light, and don't ever stop, because, what would we do without you? Seriously, people have woken up because of you. The Devil's Advocate, Batman, and all you fighters who fight for us, and even my mother. She voted for Walker in the recall. She didn't get it. She was a teacher. We're supposed to trust it. Republicans, like Tommy Thompson, he was a moderate. He was okay. He wasn't scary. This man, Scott Walker, trying to change our Constitution, our Wisconsin idea. Thanks. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Betsy. Appreciate your call. Keep your head up, girl. We're here for you.
Plenty of passion there, Betsy. Let's talk about Leah Buchmer, a girl you're very passionate about. Leah Buchmer goes back to the future with claim she was targeted by investigation into illegal campaigning.
All right, now we have some sound of this. So before you get too much into the piece, this is a press release by our friends over at One Wisconsin Now. Leah Buchmer went on up front.
I'd have moved beyond the headline. I'd have filled in a few of these blanks.
Leah Buchmer went on up front with Mike Goucher, and I saw most of this. And Mike, I love you, man, but come on, you got to push back a little bit on Leah. Let's hear what Leah Buchmer, state senator from Wisconsin, also running against a Democrat senator, U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin, had to say about, her emails getting caught up in this John Doe investigation. I'm wondering why that would be, Leah. What did you do? Let's go with cut number 1, please, Brian.
This is such an egregious overreach of government. And this is why I'm outraged, why my colleagues in the legislature are outraged, those who have been affected. Ultimately, Mike, this is the reason why I authored the bill to dismantle the GAB. When we followed, and you just discussed the events leading up to all of this, when we understood what was going on to the folks that were part of the John Doe 2 investigation, to the extent to which their homes were raided, pre-dawn raids in front of their children, I felt compelled to stand up and say we need to reform the GAB. And because of my doing that, that put me in the sights of the GAB, and I'm certain that this was politically motivated. Why else would there be a file that says oppositional research? My emails are put in a file that say opposition research.
Well, what'd you do? I would point out to Leah Buchmer, a judge did sign off on the warrant for your emails. And although there was no sign off on the John Doe 3, this was new news. We learned from the Schimmel, work of fiction that was released last week, Dom. I have no doubt that she was being investigated for either campaigning on state time or coordinating with outside groups. That's why the judge signed off on the warrant against you, Aaliyah Buchmer.
Oh, God.
A little bit more? Do we have more?
No, but let's address the factual inaccuracies of the words that she just said.
You mean I would just point towards Cindy Archer, because Cindy Archer's had 2 cracks at the federal courts. And Cindy Archer made a lot of hay out of these pre-dawn paramilitary raids, and they didn't Mirandize her, and they wouldn't let her smoke a cigarette on the porch. And then, oh yeah, the tape came out.
Oh yeah, they recorded the entire interaction, and in fact, she had to go back and redo her filings,
and then it's subsequently been kicked because it's laughable. You can't submit a work of fiction to the court. Now, Brad Schimmel submitted a work of fiction to the people of the state of Wisconsin. How do we know it was fictitious? Because very early in it, we've already had a correction made on the record by Schimmel, because Daniel Bice's wife was accused of being the John Doe leaker, and she didn't even work at the Supreme Court office she was accused of leaking information from.
Come on, this is a hit piece put out by Schimmel and all the Republicans to try and take down anybody who was against them in this John Doe piece.
Persecute, I would say.
Yes.
The prosecutors. And the prosecutors were only following the law and the precedent of the courts of the state of Wisconsin. When this starts happening, when they start doing this to the Trump investigatory team, and they're already laying the groundwork. They're already out there saying, oh, this Mueller, this damn liberal Mueller, former Republican, George W. Bush appointee to the FBI director's job, the one they all loved when he was appointed as the special counsel. Well, suddenly he's a bad guy. And I would point out, here in the state of Wisconsin, Kevin Kennedy is a nationally renowned, nonpartisan former leader of the Government Accountability Board, which once upon a time was looked at as a national model.
Now, if you listen to Speaker
for nonpartisanship,
Voss, this was a big joke. It was a farce. It was a fake. It never should have happened. And now all you Democrats need to realize that the Republicans were right all along.
Well, you know why this happened? Because Mike Ellison, the guy who's been now chased from the Wisconsin Senate, a Republican, came out and said this is necessary after the caucus scandal. Scott Jensen, the former disgraced Republican Assembly leader, got his get-out-of-jail-free card from Brad Schimmel when he was retried in Waukesha County. Well, they were coordinating campaigning constantly. They were doing all sorts of campaigning on the company dime until D. Hall broke what was the worst-kept secret in Madison, which was both parties were doing it at that time, talking about the caucus scandal. Once upon a time, we thought that was a bad thing here in the state of Wisconsin. The Democrat, Chuck Chvala, he did his time. Scott Jensen, nothing. Get out of jail free card. Now he's moving millions of dollars for the school choice, the American Federation of Students or Teachers, whatever his group is.
You think that organization is going to coordinate with these Republicans during the next election cycle?
I think absolutely. Why would they stop?
Why wouldn't they?
It's completely codified now into state law, uniquely, as we point out, because of course, it completely flies in the face of the Citizens United. And Leah Buchmer, I would point out this, they retained my emails and they were of a personal nature. Well, you know what? You're a defense attorney. If you were being prosecuted right now for the contents of those emails, if they had not retained and were not able to prove that your original emails were not changed in any sort of way, this case against you would have been laughed out of court. I don't know if you realize this, Aaliyah, but this is very normal, standard operating procedure procedure retention of digital records, especially when they're to be used as evidence in a court of law against, someone breaking the law, perhaps campaign finance laws here in the state of Wisconsin. So for her to say, oh, they kept my emails, well, the failure to keep your emails would have left them all susceptible to real ethical lapses. The fact that they kept their emails means they were doing their job correctly.
Our friends over at One Wisconsin Now, Crudy, point out some timing errors in that last statement. Of course, she claimed that her introduction of legislation in 2015 to eliminate
made her a target.
The Government Accountability
Even
Board,
though the John Doe 2 has long since been
put
going
her in
on
the sights and triggered investigators obtaining her emails that actually happened, according to recently released information, in some period before the year 2013. She's claiming she promoted and introduced legislation
made herself a target
in 2015 that made her a target for emails that occurred, in 2013? Here's what our buddy, Executive Director Scott Ross, said. Unless the GAB had a secret time machine, it is impossible for Vookmer to claim they targeted her with an investigation in 2012 for something she did in late 2015. Vookmer might rethink the victim status she's assigned herself in light of the realities of the space-time continuum. Scott Ross, absolutely. So now we have Leah Vookmer going out on Upfront with Mike Goucher, lying about the circumstances of her putting that bill forward. We also have Attorney General Brad Schimel retracting statements that he made in attacking the wife of local press here in the state of Wisconsin.
Sonia Bice, of course, Daniel Bice broke most of the John Doe stories against Scott Walker.
We also have in that very same report that the Attorney General put out in trying to find out what the leaks were and all these things, he did not go after the one person that we know, in fact, was leaking. You can go to the website of the Wall Street Journal and see Eric O'Keefe's statements. He was leaking information and going against a gag order.
We're not going to look at that.
We're not going to look at that. Why not? Because, of course, that is the very organization that the Republicans were coordinating with when it was illegal to do it at the time they were doing it.
Dom, a little additional note from Scott Ross and the boys and girls at One Wisconsin Now. Ross noted that more recently, Vookmer's tactics using her state office in pursuit of her latest electoral ambition may have run afoul of state ethics requirements. According to a complaint filed by One Wisconsin Now and the Wisconsin Ethics Commission, Vookmer's sleazy deal naming the chair of the board of the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to her U.S. Senate campaign finance committee could violate ethics prohibitions on elected officials using their position and action or inaction on legislative matters in exchange for anything of value. Related to the John Doe investigations and Republicans' Wisconsin Supreme Court shutdown years later, Scott Walker has not revealed the $447,000 campaign donors who authorized their contributions to finance Walker's criminal defense fund. Scott Walker had an anonymous criminal defense fund of nearly $500,000, Don.
Nice, if you can get it, right?
You know, I actually thought that number was approaching $1 million, his criminal defense fund, Scott Walker's. And it was illegal when he was doing it. So money well spent, apparently. Donor money well spent.
Hey, we cannot let these Republicans come back and try to rewrite history, make themselves the victims when they were the ones that were doing everything they could to circumvent what we, the citizens, decide is that we want to know who's paying the politicians to put bills out for their benefit. That's something, as citizens, we need to know. And if you don't get involved, if you don't take charge, that's what happens. Let people like Leah Vookmer and Scott Walker run the asylum.
Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open to you. 844-967-2789.
I'm Senator Leah Vookmer. I'm voting for Donald Trump.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Ah, crap.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none,
a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Wisconsin Health Insurance Advocate helps Wisconsin residents with health insurance sign-up. Whether you are currently uninsured or you get your insurance through the marketplace, you still have time to sign up or review your application before December 15th. Best of all, Wisconsin Health Insurance Advocate helps you with your application at no cost to you. We help with every plan in Wisconsin, including several off-exchange options. We still have openings before December 15th's deadline. Call or text 414-797-3408 or visit us online at wihia.com.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five9s comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five9s has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at five9s.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com. Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. Assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org, or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
The Devil's Advocates. Radio for the 99%.
Listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Last segment of the day. Thank you for listening. If you got something to say, now's the time. 844-967-2789.
Hey, Dominic, I want to jump back into the national topical pool. Focus on Flynn Trump timeline suggests obstruction is on Mueller's mind. Carol Lee at the NBC News reports this. Special counsel Robert Mueller is trying to piece together what happened inside the White House over a critical 18-day period that began when senior officials were told that National Security Advisor Michael Flynn was susceptible to blackmail by Russia, according to multiple people familiar with the matter. The questions about what happened between January 26, that's this year, and Flynn's firing on February 13th appear to relate to possible obstruction of justice by President Donald Trump. Now, wasn't it a Valentine's Day dinner that Comey got invited to one day after Michael Flynn was fired? I do recall that was the timing, very conspicuous. Comey didn't necessarily want to go to Valentine's dinner at the White House to be persuaded for a loyalty oath. Just let it go. You can let it go. Flynn's a good guy.
The timeline, you're right. I mean, there's so much going on. It was the very next day that he had his intimate dinner with the FBI director.
2 scoops of ice cream for Trump that night, I bet. Flynn's firing on February 13th appeared to relate to possible obstruction of justice by President Donald Trump, say 2 people familiar with Mueller's investigation into Russia, election meddling, and potential collusion with the Trump campaign. Multiple sources said that during the interviews, Mueller's investigations have asked witnesses, including White House counsel Don McCann and others who have worked in the West Wing, to go through each day that Flynn remained his national security advisor and describe in detail what they knew was happening inside the White House as it related to Flynn. Some of those interviewed by Mueller's team believe the goal is in part to determine if there was a deliberate effort by President Trump or top officials in the West Wing to cover up information about Flynn that, here's the name, should sound familiar, Sally Yates, then the acting attorney general, they also fired her, right, Tom?
Mm-hmm.
Conveyed to McCann on January 26. In addition to Flynn, McCann is also expected to be critical in federal investigators' attempts to piece together a timeline of those 18 days. Neither McCann's lawyer or White House responded to requests for comments. A spokesman for the special counsel's office declined to comment as well.
From NBC News, we are reading, I continue, when did Trump learn Flynn lied to the FBI? ? Crudy, I'm just going to say right away, I assume Trump told him to lie to the FBI, but I will go back to the piece now. The obstruction of justice question could hinge on when Trump knew about the content of Flynn's conversation with Russian ambassador to the U.S. during the transition, which were at the crux of Yates's warning, and when the president learned Flynn had lied about those conversations to the FBI, according to 2 people familiar with the Mueller probe. Flynn pleaded guilty earlier this month, of course, for lying to the FBI on January 24th, an interview that took place the day after he was sworn in as National Security Advisor. Hey, welcome to your new job. Here's your office, here's the restroom, and here's a conference room where you're going to be interviewed by the FBI. I continue. Yates has testified to Congress that she informed McCann on January 26th that Flynn had not been truthful in statements to senior members of the Trump team, including Vice President Mike Pence, when he said he did not discuss U.S. sanctions with Russia Ambassador Sergei Kislyak. Yates said Flynn was susceptible to blackmail by the Russians because he lied about the contents of a phone call with Kislyak.
I think there will be plenty of attacks on Mueller's investigatory team because much like the guilty as sin Republicans here in the state of Wisconsin, I think many in the Trump team and the Trump White House are also guilty as sin.
You think when Flynn lied to the FBI the day after he got his job, he did so of his own volition and not under orders from President Trump?
Trump either knew at the time or acknowledged it after the fact.
Or told him to do it.
And I wouldn't forget this name. What about Mike Pence? What about the VP? He headed up the transition team. Was it really because he got lied to? Suddenly that's the fireable offense?
No,
not lying to the FBI, but misleading the VP.
Vice President.
The very same VP that reportedly nearly coup d'etat Trump before the convention after the Access Hollywood tape came out. Seems quite unbelievable. Folks, spread the devil's advocates. It is unbelievable that our show is over. You better tune in again tomorrow. We do this each weekday for your listening pleasure. Please tune in again. It's worth it.
Daddy, can I go with you? I said, yes, you can.
No, man. I believe you get your ass kicked saying something like that, man.
And then we will be straight.
When Wisconsin Republican Brad Schimmel,
I don't have a lot of expertise,
decided to run for Wisconsin Attorney General,
I don't